Our first stop brings us to the front steps of Memorial Hall. Built in 1908, this hall was built to honor the Grand Army of the Republic and Spanish-American War veterans. This building was designed by architect Samuel Hannaford, the very same architect who designed the Cincinnati Music Hall. As you can tell, Mr. Hannaford was a fan of ornate carvings, tall pillars, statuesque design, and beautifully crafted lead glass windows. This hall was built for war veterans to congregate and share their stories, trials, and tribulations in a setting that allowed for peace, healing, and brotherhood. We visited Memorial Hall. With such dramatic history, there had to be equally dramatic hauntings. Located on the very same grounds located in such close proximity to Washington Park and Cincinnati Music Hall, paranormal residents can easily travel these grounds. They wander here, searching for a living person to hear their tale. Our visit certainly was not in vain, as we had multiple staff members come to report their experiences here. One woman in particular almost quit her job here due to the harassment she experienced from unseen entities. She told us of a vision of a mud-covered child, their clothes tattered and torn, their face seemingly melted from their head. One late night shift, as she was finishing up some museum tour paperwork in her office, she heard a small knock upon her solid wood office door. She could tell by the location and gentleness of the knock that there was a child on the other side of the door. She was terrified. No children visited Memorial Hall, especially not at 9 p.m., long after the street lights had come on and other living children were asleep in bed. She felt a cold sweat envelop her body. She was frozen, too scared to open the door to leave for the night. She heard another knock, then another, and another after that, each growing louder and angrier. She finally built up the courage and whipped the door open. She saw a glimpse of a 4-foot-tall entity before it dashed down the hall. She described the movement as a swimming motion as it seemingly blended into the floorboards. At this point, she was afraid she'd see the child again, but she also felt an overwhelming sadness. Had she met one of the orphan children buried on the grounds of Washington Park? Perhaps this child was playing a simple game of ding-dong ditch. Or maybe this was a darker, more sinister energy hiding behind the facade of a child. She said she felt that very moment it was not a child's spirit. She felt like her soul and her body was dying at that very moment, like there was a murderer on the other side of the door. We talked to an office manager, who we'll call Ellis, who spoke of a different type of energy here. He told us he had only experienced lighthearted, fun spirits, as he called them. Casper the Friendly Ghost types, if you will. He had worked at Memorial Hall for over 10 years, managing the offices here, making sure all the tours were on time. One morning before his employees arrived, he sat at this desk, sleepy from his long night before. As he drifted off, he felt a small poke on his side. Being ticklish, this awoke him immediately. He felt another poke, then another, all over his sides and back. Now, usually this would terrify him, but he said he felt like he was being played with, like he was safe, and that no other spirits would harm him. He decided to give this spirit a name, Little John, and ever since then, Little John has been by his side. He told us he always fears them nearby. He said, on any given day, especially days when I'm making a big decision, I can feel his presence in the air, basically giving me a sense of peace and calm. He lets me know I'm always doing the right thing. I have enjoyed working here, and I've enjoyed having his presence, but something makes me wonder if he's moved on to another colleague who's in need of a little reassurance. With all the wartime memorabilia here, spirits of soldiers past have been seen wandering through the halls as well. One current employee told us of the day she saw a tall soldier walking through the exhibits. She went up to greet him, as many living soldiers do pass through the hall to see artifacts from their brothers past. As she approached, the sound from her shoes tapping the floor gained his attention, and he turned to look at her. He smiled. Then he vanished. She stopped dead in her tracks. No pun intended. She had not ever told anybody her story, for fear that she'd be fired or thought of as less than sane. But she wasn't the only person there who had seen this man. Another colleague told us of the same soldier walking through the same exhibits. She could tell by his uniform that he was from a past war, and she wonders if he's connected to one of the artifacts here. Other co-workers have spoke of similar occurrences, pranks with nobody claiming to have done them, extremely cold breezes appearing without any indication or draft in any other room. There have been stories of orphaned children spirits walking through the halls, or dead soldiers still following orders.